Welcome to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we dive deep and answer the ultimate question: how did you hack into tech sales? Each week, we bring you inspiring stories, proven strategies, and insider tips from top performers who've cracked the code to break into tech sales and thrive. Whether you're just starting out, making a career pivot, or ready to level up, this is your go-to space for actionable advice and real-world success stories. Let's crack the code together, because hacking into tech sales isn't just a dream, it's your next move. Now with your host, the founder of Tech Sales Funnels and the tech sales hacker himself, Dayvisson da Silva.
Welcome everyone to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast. This is Dayvisson da Silva, the tech sales hacker, your host. And today I have Jay Johns. He's also known as the Profiler. And you're going to find out why in just a second. I came across Jay John's profile on LinkedIn, and he made a comment in one of my posts, and I was like, I have to talk to Jay. He's up to something here. What he's doing is actually super amazing to help the LinkedIn community of especially job seekers. But also his information is valuable for everyone listening to this, tech sellers, job seekers, and everyone else listening to the podcast. So welcome, Jay Jones.
Hey, thank you for having me, Dayvisson. I appreciate it. And yeah, like you said, I'm known as the Profiler on LinkedIn, and what happened to lead to that is I decided to take on scammers, and today I've gotten 31,854 fake jobs off LinkedIn, and also 7,000 fake resume writers and recruiters off LinkedIn. And the work had started because I just didn't want to see anybody scammed. I didn't want to see anybody taken advantage of. And so thankfully the work is working, and it's led me here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you are actually, you mentioned, we had a quick conversation before this call, and you mentioned that you started looking for a job September 2000, a few months ago. Like, how long have you been with this?
No, I was laid off in December of 2023. And ever since then, I've been looking for different opportunities and unable to land a full-time role. And so intermittently, I've landed some contract work, but nothing sustaining. And so in the meantime, what I do while still looking for work, I also take down the scam profiles, the fake jobs, fake resume writers, and recruiters and so on.
Okay. How did you come up with that? Like, I know it's, you try to help, and based on your personal experience, you start seeing a lot of weird stuff on LinkedIn, which, by the way, we can talk more about that, like why LinkedIn even allows, this stuff to happen. I don't understand, but was that anything for your background that kind of triggered you to do that? Like,
My background, I've always been inquisitive. I've always been somebody who's like, mystery novels, things like that. I grew up loving Batman, X-Files. And so those kind of things actually were the impetus to this kind of mindset and ability to detect things. I'm a little thrown off because there's an echo, but I'll work through it. And so pretty much what I see, I'm always questioning. I'm always looking for the throughway behind it. And so that's what gives me the ability to discover these things and help bring it to the people to educate them.
okay, so you mentioned like 3,000 scammers. Was there?
31,854 fake jobs, and then over 7,000 fake resume writers and recruiters.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like, so you're keeping track of all these people? Like, did you ever have LinkedIn ever reached out to you, like asking to say thanks or for the things you're doing, or do you reach out to them? How was your LinkedIn being able to help, so many people?
Yeah, the boilerplate responses are what I get when I report things. Thank you for helping protect the LinkedIn community. When I've reached out about them creating a position for me, I was told that, keep my eyes out on the job board. So, that speaks volumes to me there. So, and then you asked earlier how it's allowed. I mean, the issue is engagement over everything, because when you have all of this engagement, when you have people constantly job searching, that's beneficial. And It's the antithesis of seeing people routinely find work and then leave the platform. So you have those issues there.
Yeah, the irritation. Yeah. So how's do you have like how's your day to day like on this? I always feel like it's a mission. Like you're on a mission to to put it out on those scammers and then help the seeking community. Have you ever thought about uh like actually like turning this into a business, like consulting? Like how do you see the outside of the satisfaction of helping people serving? Do you have big plans for what you're doing now, or because you have a lot of data, a lot of information?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually started a business. It's called the Profiler Protection Service, and what it does is it helps brands, helps business owners, helps resume writers and career coaches be safer in the job market. If there are instances of people misappropriating their identities or their businesses, I step in and help them. Two notable people are Aaron Kennedy and Melissa Cohen, who are two renowned people on LinkedIn. They both had websites that were outright impersonating them, and I got both of those taken down within 3 to 5 days. And this is after, like, they sent cease and desist from their lawyers. This is after they reported them directly through the reporting platforms, and it didn't work. But once I got involved and made a case and actually pressed the issue, that's when I got them taken down. It's the issue taken down.
Interesting, very interesting. All right, so do you have a business already? Apologies for missing that one out. I can see here now on LinkedIn it's called the Profiler Protection Service, and I can see that being also outside of individual profiles being super helpful for businesses. I'm pretty sure businesses are also being targeted.
Yeah, as I said,
Going back to you as a business side. Yep.
constantly, there are hundreds of businesses, if not thousands, that are targeted. I mean, these scammers are wide ranging. They specialize in the recruiting industry. So I've seen them target Adecco, Robert Half, Aerotech. Um, who else? Well, any of the big recruiting firms they target, Lockheed Martin, um, who else? Deloitte. And they target these businesses either pretending to be people that work for the company, or they'll use the names of people that have worked there in the past, the present. And they'll blend things by stealing information from different people's profiles. They'll do the whole, gamut to try to scam people and get their information.
Interesting. Wow. Do you have a process that you follow like on a daily basis, like that you like? I'm pretty sure you follow. Like a lot of times people they put, for example, they open to work, right? The banner, they're highly targeted. Um, how do you? Yeah, how's your process to find those people like outside of just kind of seeing stuff on your feed?
Yeah, I know who they target. They target anybody with the banner. They target people who repost posts from people with the banner. People don't know that, but if you're just being supportive of someone who has the open word banner up and you repost it, then the bots that the scammers use, they follow you too. And they go to the different profiles and posts of people who have prominent followings, and they target their comment sections to try to get people down there and scam them and get their information.
Interesting. Wow. Wow.
And there's another issue. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There's another major issue where it involves hijack profiles or hacked profiles. And the pattern that I've seen is if a profile has an activity of about 3 weeks or more, then it's a good target for scammers to attack and then take over. And then they'll pretend to be a real person trying to get people hired. And I have a ton of cases of that on LinkedIn now. I just shared a case yesterday, actually, where there are 4 profiles that had age. One involved a U.S. Marine Corps member who was inactive on LinkedIn for about 7 months. And the scammers, took it over and were trying to recruit people.
Interesting. How do they hack and stuff? I'm known to be the tech sales hacker. I help people hack into the jobs, which is kind of like getting the job. But how do they people hack? How does people hack into the LinkedIn's profile?
It's as simple as clicking a link. And if that link has malware in it, then it can infest your laptop. It can do keystroke detection. and see what your logins are across different social media sites. The other issue that I've seen is if you're a discreet job seeker, so you don't have the open to work banner publicly shown, but you're talking to recruiters behind the scene that you think are real, and you schedule a meeting through Calendly or whatnot. One of the scams that they do is they have a Calendly meeting request, but you have to use it by logging in with your Facebook credentials. And most people have the same credentials across social media sites. And if they get your password here, they can get it on LinkedIn and everywhere else. And then there's this other pervasive issue of people leasing their accounts. So these fake recruiters or outfits out of different countries, they'll message people saying, hey, your profile meets the criteria of X amount of connections, X amount of age. We'll pay you this per month just to lease your account. And then there are people who take them up on the offer. But the problem is they're scammers. And so once they get your information, they'll lock you out. And then what are you going to do? Tell LinkedIn that, hey, I sold my account. Can you get it back for me?
Interesting. Wow. That's crazy, man. Wow. So what has, can you tell like, probably the craziest, the wildest story they have, debunked or you figured out, uh, of these whole thousands of detections? Can you think about a big one, like this very memorable one?
I mean, the most memorable one is 10 Star Resume Limited. That was actually my first major case because it started off with the fake resume writers. And so this was a business that operated on LinkedIn for several years. And what they would do is take pictures of attractive women and then add them to their company employees and have them pretend to be resume writers. And so when I started to notice this pattern, I was like, yes, attractive women work in the resume writing industry, but why is there such a concentration of them here at this company? That's why I got suspicious. Then I started to look and I'm like, okay, this picture is someone else. And so what if this whole profile is belonging to someone else? And that's when I discovered that they were stealing content from real resume writers that were actually on LinkedIn. And so it got real crazy because I couldn't find the actual head of the company to, fully bring it down until I did. And in the process, they deleted about 3,000 fake profiles to try to like throw me off the set. They also sent someone named Samira Amir to send me a message and pretend to be an informant against 10 Star Resume Limited. But the picture they were using is actually of a famous a famous Pakistani actress, and her name was Samir Khan or something like that. I forget her name. But eventually I got the entire business off LinkedIn. I say business in quotes. And then the company is formally dissolved as of February of this year. So, yeah.
Yeah, like just another day in the office here for me. You're just
I'm sorry, say it again.
you're like just another day in the office here for me. It's not good, bro.
No, it is a massive victory, but it's just, I try not to dwell on it because there's so much more work to do, but I am happy to see that result happened. But lately, it's just a lot of issues with hijack profiles. There are a lot of real people who are having their information taken, having their brands damaged. And so I can't, rest on my laurels too much.
Interesting. Okay, so we have accounts being hacked, fake
Fake jobs.
fake jobs. Okay, so tell a little bit more about that. Like you mentioned something about people even getting offers from fake, whole thing, fake, even the offer.
Yeah, because there are varying stages of the fake job process. The first part is it's a bait and switch to get your resume because they'll entice you with a job offer saying you're a match for it. But then by the time you get into the messaging process, they'll say, send me your resume. They'll say it's non-ATS compliant and then offer to rewrite it. And then once you agree to that, then they'll say you're a magic fit for this role, but the role doesn't exist. There's an issue going on with a Salesforce recruiter. She's well known. She's on LinkedIn, and their entire dedicated email threads where these people are pretending to be her and headhunting people for these exclusive roles at Salesforce, but they don't exist.
Interesting. Interesting. So you mentioned before that people getting offers and even checks like already for onboarding, but everything was fake. How far? Like, what have you seen? Like bizarre, so bizarre. Like the people like, nah, that's not even true. That couldn't be. That couldn't be true. Like,
I mean, there are cases where people realize early on that it's not real and they uh, abandon the process. But the worst cases I've seen is people have taken their lives because they were scammed, so they committed suicide. Uh, and so that's a driving force as to why I do this because I, if I can affect one person from making that ultimate decision because they were scammed, then that's why I do it. Um, One of the troubling stories, there were two of them actually. One woman, she took a role with Sheen that she thought was real as a call center representative or something like that. And she quit her real job and took this job with Sheen thinking it was real, but it was fake. On top of that, she got a check in the mail for the ordering of home equipment, but that was actually a fraudulent check. She then gave her credentials to buy through an approved vendor on their website. And then that way they got her payment credentials and then got into her account. By the time she got the check in the mail to deposit it, then 3 to 5 business days later, she learns that the check was fake and her account is overdrawn by thousands of dollars. The second instance involved a woman who thought she was taking a job with Epsilon. It's the same deal. She got a check in the mail, purchased the equipment through their approved vendor, and then by the time the check is verified 3 to 5 business days later, she's thousands of dollars out of her money.
gosh. So got a fake job, lost money, lost identity, and wow, that's crazy, man. I see, with controllers, right? Fake comments and all that kind of stuff on some of my posts. In fact, that's how you found me. You detected one of those, and I thought it was funny because I kind of knew it. But the profile looked actually real, and then you brought it up like, well, it's probably a hacked profile, which made sense, like because honestly, I don't have time to go over all the people who are making comments to check their profiles and all that. Especially if they don't fit my community, tech sellers and all that. But that guy looked actually real. The you mentioned his profile was hacked.
Yeah, that's the thing because people trust in the verification mark because they've been told that verification means that the profile is trustworthy. But this is how scammers actually get past the first line of defense, which is verification. They know job seekers are like, oh, this check means this person is trustworthy. But when there's a hacked profile, it absolutely isn't. And so one thing you can do to determine whether or not a fake profile or a check mark profile is hijacked is basically look at the career histories and then look at what they're doing with the profile. So I've seen a person who worked in the wine industry. He's always worked in the wine industry. Suddenly he's asking for people's resumes. He's trying to get them hired at different places like Deloitte or Lockheed Martin. It makes absolutely no sense. But because the scammers are operating behind the strength and authenticity of the verification of the original profile owner, this is why they get to have the extended reach and the extended credibility.
Wow, man, you know more about LinkedIn scam than anybody else that I have seen before. Like so you're up to something here. Now, your job probably doubled in the last few months because of this whole AI thing, and then how I think there's even more. What have you seen in the last year or so, like with this whole AI, and how the game has changed though for uh how about like candidates, even candidates, fake candidates on the recruiting side, also apply for jobs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. I probably would have forgot to talk about that, but that's a major problem. And this is why the work that I do is so beneficial to not only recruiters, but HR, to the tech space, to pretty much every legitimate industry. Because what these scammers do with the AI face swapping and the ability to alter their appearance while they're on like live video, it makes fake candidates even stronger. And it makes the time that recruiters and hiring managers have between filling a role between posting a role and filling it even longer because they have to filter through the nonsense candidates. And it makes like AI has a lot of advancements, a lot of benefits, but what it does is it actually empowers scammers to do endless amounts of bad things to people.
Yeah, I didn't imagine how, you know, you know, more both sides. It's harder on both sides. For the recruiters, I have heard from recruiters getting people on interviews, and then whoever shows up on the camera is someone completely different than the person who actually applied. Nothing matched. It was just chaos. And on the other side, that's the side I'm trying to help, is people apply for jobs, and there's just a lot going on these days to try to figure out. Any any advice for people, like, is there any like checklist that people should quickly go through? Detection 101. They don't have to be the profiler, the expert, but they'll figure it out by themselves. Is that a way?
Yeah. Ask yourself, why is this specific profile reaching out to you? Ask yourself, do you have the banner? Did you recently post a comment using the hashtag open to work? Is this person being overly flattering in their initial in their initial message to you? Because I call them the recruiting love bombers. So they'll be like, "You're so wonderful. You're so awesome. I can't believe you're still in the job market. What is it that is keeping you out here?" And it frames your mind to look at them as an ally and someone who is a quick route to finding your next role. So look at how they communicate with you. Is it overly flattering? Look at the profile itself. Does it make sense that this person is recruiting you for anything? Do they have any affiliation with the company outside of them saying it? Check the domain of the email address that they give you. I would say at this point, 100% of the time, if they are using a Gmail address or a Outlook address or a Proton Mail address, run the other way.
Wow. Okay. I love that. I love this as a quick checklist for everyone. If you're listening to this right now, just go back and take a look at it. Now,
I also have a scam detection guide. It's pinned on the feature section of my profile. It's free. I call it volume 1 because I'm working on volume 2 now, but that is a great baseline for job seekers to use it as an accompaniment in their search.
this is awesome. I see a lot of people very frustrated. I've seen a lot of posts, people like, "Hey, I just went through the interview process. It was a bunch of scam." It's definitely a lot. So highly recommend everyone to connect with Jay, the profile, online. He's putting posts and doing interviews all over the place and explaining the scam activity on LinkedIn. I have no idea why LinkedIn has not hired him or brought him on board.
I mean,
Which I know some people on LinkedIn maybe should connect. I used to work for Microsoft, and LinkedIn is just part of Microsoft. So I know some people there. Maybe we can sync sometime. But yeah, I think what you're doing just for the community is super super valuable. People need to hear this more in both sides of the table. Uh, how about, like, have you seen we talk about scams and all that, bullying, like, people getting bullied on
is it bullied?
say bully? Yeah, like bully. Yeah, like digital bully.
Yeah. I mean, I look at scamming as bullying because you're targeting the weak. And I don't mean to say that like they're weak as an insult. I'm saying that they're in a vulnerable position when I say weak because they've lost their job, they've lost their sense of identity. And they're worried about their livelihood and how they're going to continue to provide not only for themselves, but their families. And so that's bullying to me. And that's why I'm so merciless when it comes to the scammers. It's like, no, I'm not going to tolerate you pretending to be somebody else. I'm not going to tolerate you posting fake jobs, stealing people's accolades and things like that, because you just don't have what it takes to actually be a real. I've seen people talk about their mental health struggles. I've seen people talk about, being in dire financial straits, myself included. And more specifically, when it comes to men talking about their mental challenges, when it comes to like trying to find the next role and the toll it's taking on them and the timeline, they get attacked, they get told it's not professional, they get called weak, you know, they're already admitting and being vulnerable and open about their mental struggles. And yet here you are, whoever these people are that do it, you take that opportunity to pile on them even more. I'm like, no, no, that's not okay.
Yeah, so it is a virtual bullying. You're 100% right. Um, Thanks for doing, what you do for the community. I don't know how much your time, uh, is taking to that, and I'm sure you'll find out more details on how do you actually take those people down, like how that would be interesting to know a little bit at a high level. But if you want to find out more, I'll reach out to Jay. And if you need help, like, I mean, you can hire his services as well. How can people do that, Jay? Like, at what point people come to you and say, hey, Jay, can you help me here?
Yeah, you can send me a DM if you're interested about protecting your brand, because any brand, anybody of any note or profession, scammers are after you. It doesn't matter whether you have a large following or a medium-sized following or even a small following. If you have the ability to articulate yourself well, if you have a track record of helping people and you have refused to back it up, then what they'll do is they'll target you. They'll steal your information off of their profile. They'll steal your picture. They'll take your name, whatever they can, to make their scams look legitimate. So it affects everybody that is a real professional. So send me a DM, send me an email, and we can talk through how it can help you out.
That's awesome. I'm thinking about my own personal brand.
Yeah, because you're in the tech space and that's major. Like, for example, if your profile were to be hacked, it would be a huge win for scammers. But, this is one thing I encourage people to do is enable multi-factor authentication on their multi-factor authorization, I believe, on their profiles. Make sure all your passwords are hard to guess, and just don't click any link that you don't know. Don't even if it's from someone you do know, because I've seen that happen where they'll hack a friend's profile of yours and then message you as them and scam you, because this one profile that was hacked on Facebook was quote unquote selling Taylor Swift ticket to her connections, but the profile was hacked and then they used the credentials from Facebook to hack the LinkedIn profile.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, be aware, everyone. Maybe change passwords from from LinkedIn to different social media. Maybe two-factor authentication. That's a good one. And be on the lookout. This is an amazing one. It does help. Yes.
There's one other thing too is when you're doing a Google search for a business, never click the sponsored link at the top, because that's a link that is paid to be promoted at the top. Because I know someone, she's a CEO, and she literally had malware installed on her phone because she clicked the sponsored link instead of the real one below. And it was actually involving Amazon's link. So she had to change all her passwords, take her phone to the Apple store, make sure it was clean from any malware or whatnot. But this was an entire day lost by clicking the one wrong link.
Yeah, that was actually lucky on her side, right? Could be much worse. Yeah, that's another great piece of advice. We might have to do a part two, man. I know it's something will come to a close here. There's a lot, and we can dive in so many directions here. I'm just trying to go with the flow. But any final piece of advice from the LinkedIn profiler?
I'd say not be discouraged. I say, continue to stay vigilant in your job search. It won't last forever. But in the meantime, just be as shrewd and as astute as possible, because I said it before in the previous live. I say treat yourself like you're a lottery winner and everyone out here is trying to get your money. And so if you are a lottery winner and someone came up with a business opportunity you didn't know, would you entertain it? Of course not, because you think they're trying to steal your money. And so being a job seeker, you still have power, you still have value, and don't let your current situation of being out of work make you feel like you have to kowtow and be overly accommodating, because what that does is position you to be scammed.
Wow, thank you. Now, there's an amazing advice. 100% with you that it's not because you just, in transition between work and jobs that you lost your value or, your experience. In fact, uh, it's just a redirection to something new and that you just have to keep moving forward. Be aware of all those vulnerable spots, I would say, so you don't get scammed. Thank you so much, Jay, for joining today. Amazing. Everyone, go back and listen from the beginning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tech Sales Funnels podcast, where we crack the code and uncover the strategies to break into tech sales. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to hack their way into this exciting career. Remember, hacking into tech sales isn't just a goal, it's a mission. Let's keep hacking, learning, and winning together. Catch you next time.